There was a fire in Modesto in 1997, a tragic, tragic fire where a woman and 2 children died. It was then investigated by the Modesto Fire Department, and based on their initial determinations, they decided it was an arson. Our client owned the house. It was a rental property in Modesto that he had rented out.
I know I have not done it. But the first trial was a hang jury, and the second trial they convicted me and put me in jail. All these years, believe it or not, I never lost a hope. I knew one day something would happen and my innocence would be proved.
Mr. Souliotes wrote to us and asked for our help. The case had several procedural hurdles that we had to overcome in order to finally get a court to consider the underlying facts of the case. And that's what we spent very much of our time arguing. The state court never even granted it a hearing. And so we had to argue about how the state court should have granted it a hearing before we ended up in federal court. Ultimately, the federal court did its job, looked at the case, gave it very careful consideration, had a multi-day hearing on the case, wrote several lengthy opinions regarding its consideration of the case, 93-page decision finding factual innocence in order to allow the underlying other claims to be considered, and then another close to 100-page decision reversing the conviction. We litigated this case for over 10 years. That's a long time to be fighting for somebody that you know is innocent and should be out. We're a very small office, and we have lots and lots of cases, and for many of our cases, the resources that are required to pursue them are more than we are ever going to be able to do on our own. Law firms have more resources than we do, and when they're able to donate their time and those resources pro bono, we and our clients benefit tremendously from having their involvement.
The battles that we went through to make this happen. We're comrades at arms. Myself, Linda, Megan, Shannon, the other associates from the firm who are heavily involved with the case. We're comrades at arms, and that creates a very, very deep bond that I think is lifelong and is unshakable.
The bond grew when we added the trial team to it, Jim Brosnahan and his team from Morrison and Forster.
Yesterday, he was in jail. Tomorrow, he'll be free with his family. He has a support system of very loyal people that are in his family. And he'll be able to decide whether he wants to go get an ice cream cone or listen to the birds or whatever he wants to do. And that's good.
I feel like I've hit the highlight of my career and possibly my entire life a little too soon, so I might have to retire from the law and do something else. But no, it was incredibly gratifying. The moment I met George, I was convinced he was innocent, and there was a lot of weight on my shoulders to make sure I did everything I could to help him come home. But that being accomplished it's the most rewarding thing of my life.
I see the sun. Is it beautiful? They give me life again, because living in prison is not a life. I owe them a lot. I owe them everything. You cannot put an amount of money, and I owe them my freedom.